on Zoom, on YouTube, on all the platforms who are tuned in inside actually the mindsets of the top 50 influential CEOs. Now, my name is Sujira Rubasha, and I have been interviewing CEOs from all industries, powerful people living on a mission and vision. And one thing you do when you're in this space is you learn from people, learning. And in fact, out of all the CEOs we've interviewed, one thing that does come in common, because this is what we look for, are people with a personal brand. We're heading in 2026. If you do not have a personal brand now more than ever, you are losing out. Because when I Google you, what comes up is actually so valuable. That's where all the trust is laid. We wouldn't have been able to interview all these amazing, influential people, high net worth individuals, people running big companies if we didn't have a personal brand. If they didn't Google us and they'd see substance about me as the founder, what I'm about. It even works so well when it comes to things like recruiting. You're able to recruit people because people are able to understand what your mission, what your vision is. We just released a new podcast episode with one of our CEO clients, and it was fabulous. It was absolutely powerful in regards to building a network, right? How can you build a network and have a network of influence, right? And this talk is going to go into building that personal brand. How do you build a personal brand? Well, one thing that we've been doing that's really well is starting a podcast. And when it comes to influence, I mean, what is influence, right? Let's look at the definition of influence. I'm going to go on ChatGPT. What is the definition of influence? Let's ask ChatGPT what it says. Influence is the ability to affect or change someone's thoughts, feelings, decisions, or actions without using force. It's about shaping outcomes through persuasion, credibility, trust, authority. Influence is the power to make things happen through who you are, what you say, or how you behave, not through control. Influence is the power to make things happen through who you are. Right? How are you able to influence your family? How are you able to influence your customers? How are you able to influence your employees? It's actually incredibly powerful. And the way that comes out is also your credibility. What makes you credible enough for me to listen to you? Right? Have you put in the hard yards? Again, I was just speaking to someone who we had a meeting with yesterday, and they told me, you know what, Sujira, I Googled you. I saw all your YouTube videos, and I was actually excited. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Right, is because now I'm much more credible. She's able to listen to me. I'm able to go into the rooms and have conversations with these people. Why? Because when they Google you, or even if they put your name through ChatGPT, which most people are doing, how many of you guys here are finding out things through ChatGPT? I didn't go on Google right now to look at the definition of influence. I went through ChatGPT. So people in 2026 are going to put your name through ChatGPT, your company through ChatGPT. What's going to come up? What is going to separate you from the marketplace? How can you gain influence? And one thing that I've noticed with all these CEOs, the number one thing that stands out in terms of influence and all these influential CEOs is curiosity. The ability to be curious, the ability to ask questions, the ability to say, okay, he's talking about building a personal brand. Why should I build a personal brand? How is this going to affect my bottom line? How is this going to affect my business? Well, okay, great. See, that is what separates people. And so what I'll do is I will take you guys through the roadmap of how we do this. How do we create that influence? How do we get people to listen to us, to stand up to us? And a lot of these things take time. It takes time to build a powerful personal brand. It takes time to create that influence. But when you do, it compounds over a series and period of time, right? What's your mission? What's your vision? Why are you waking up every single morning? How can you influence your customers, right? And again, when it comes to client acquisition, you know, we're heading into 2026 and the economy is changing. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The economy is changing. Things are getting tougher for some people. Things are getting more abundant for some people. So it's really two sides of the coin. Right now, there's never been a greater opportunity to be in business right now. There's never been a greater opportunity. How does someone like me get into the rooms I'm getting in? How? You know, I'm a young entrepreneur building my business, growing it to the billion-dollar companies. How? You know, I'll tell you a story. I went yesterday and saw a company. They were listed in Australian Stock Exchange, right? Big, huge company. They spend about $14 million a year on their marketing, which goes to your question, what's your marketing strategy? They spend $14 million a year on marketing. So I went there and the CEO was there, and they've been running for about 20 years. And I was in that office and I said, wow, this is what it takes. 20 years. 20 years. And you don't know the struggles that CEO and the founder, who he's both, went through when he first started. The rejection, trying to figure it out. But that's what happens when you keep going through a compounding period of time. You reach it like that. Huge company, so many employees. I think I had over 200 employees in there. They're now on the stock exchange. That's what it takes. But that comes over time. But it also comes through the ability to influence, the ability to influence people on your mission and vision. Some of you people have a huge problem right now when it comes to recruiting people. You need to recruit the best people. You need to recruit people who get your mission and the vision. You need to recruit A players. We're actually seeing a time now where you can have a less team, right? And everyone has to have all these huge offices. We're seeing an era where the teams are getting smaller because you only want to get the best. You want to get the best A players. Now, again, how do we do that? It comes by this. So I'm just going to show you guys this quickly. Let's do this. Let's go. So I'm going to show you guys, and let's break it down. Now, this is when it comes to building a personal brand. Again, a little bit about me. I'm Sujira Rubasha. Why influence is the most valuable currency today. People buy from people. 76% of B2B buyers are influenced by personal brand over company brand. People want to know who the founder is. They want to know what your story, what your mission is. People, the sales cycles are getting longer right now. Sales cycles are getting longer because people are taking time. People are taking time to trust, right? So, this is something that I did out of my imagination. I was just a creator. I wasn't a business owner. I was just creating content. I was just doing what I loved and what inspired, that came from my imagination. I was able to build over 14 million views on my channel. Over 31,000 subscribers. And this videos here, this has gone over to 5,000 videos. That's been putting the hard yards again and again and again. This is the podcast that we grew to. So the reason why I'm showing you guys this is social media graphs are changing. You're scrolling through LinkedIn right now. I might just pop myself up. You're scrolling through LinkedIn right now. And guess what LinkedIn is going to show you? It's going to show you what you're interested in. It's going to show you what you're curious about. Right? So now you have a business, selling life insurance. You have a life insurance company selling software. There's so many customers who don't know who you are, but they want your solution. And if you put out content about your problem and what you're solving, trust me, they're going to come to you. They're going to find you. So before it used to be like classmates, friends, mom. Now it's about interests. Right? If I'm into golf, I'm going to see golf content. If I'm into cooking, I'm going to see cooking content. If I'm into jazz, I'm going to see jazz content. So that's the day and age that we're living in. So it's about really tapping into that. So the reason why I'm telling you this is your influence is going to be predicated on the content that you put out. How are you educating your customers? How are you influencing them in their decisions? The way you influence them in their decisions is by giving them value, is by educating, is by letting them know. It's by having empathy. It's by doing things like this, right? I'm doing a webinar here. Why? Because I know if I continue to add value to the marketplace, it's gonna come back to us. It's gonna come back to the bottom line because it's all about the value. It's all about educating your customers. Your customers, before they come to you now more than ever, they're already being educated. And that's why sales cycles are increasing, right? Because people are already doing so much more research before they're ready to buy. They say only, I believe 90% of people are just, shopping. Only 1% are actually ready to buy now. So you also want to be putting out content for the people who are ready to buy now. And the 97%, they're going to continue to just be nurtured by your content. And remember, I always like to say there's a difference between sales and marketing, but let's go to those two different things. This is more on the marketing side on how to do this. You want to document the content just like I'm doing now. I'm documenting this, right? After this, it's going to get put on YouTube as well, right? So people can listen to this as a podcast, right? So I document the content and then I repurpose that into micro content. I make short form content out of that. And that's why a podcast is so valuable. That's why I've been doing a World Podcast Tour, because now, instead of me going out and marketing, well, guess what? I'm knocking two birds in one stone. I'm speaking to influential CEOs. So I'm learning an incredible ton of value from different industries. And it's kind of like mentorship. I get to sit down with people who have bought companies, who have sold companies, who are running Fortune 500 companies, who are running their own businesses. A lot of us are in the small business sector. So I'm learning from so many different industries, but at the same time, I'm marketing, I'm documenting. I'm not going out here and creating content. I'm not going out here and no, this is just natural to me. So as it's natural, it can also provide me content that goes out to more people. So you actually just knock two birds in one stone, and it actually makes your life easier. So then you distribute that across social media. So this is just an example. This is the long form content, and then that gets distributed into short form pieces of content. So you can see here, this is establishing the pillar content, which goes through YouTube. So that goes straight up on YouTube, and then now people can go in. So for example, you can have a show, you can have a dedicated content show, which is a business Q&A. It could be, again, the podcast session. It could be a meeting. Again, even just sometimes documenting meetings is incredibly powerful, right? And this is a powerful thing, especially for even a lot of the people who are keynote speakers, right? A lot of you guys are in there now going into keynote speaking in front of stages, being inspired to get your mission and vision. And when you're keynote speaking, it's so powerful because instead of just doing one-to-one meetings with everyone, you're one-to-many. Just like something like this, right? You do a webinar, you do a masterclass, you're one-to-many. So now when you're one-to-many, think about it, you have 50 people in the room, 100 people in the room, and they like you, they like the way you speak, they like the mission and the vision and the inspiration you come across. Imagine just converting 1% of people in that audience. You have 100 people in there, 50 people, 200 people. You convert 1% of that audience. And it depends how big is your order value, right? How big is, what's the lifetime value of a customer? Is it 10 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000 above? So now the conversion rates are quite powerful. So, and then when you're now documenting that keynote, not only are you doing it, but then now you're able to use that keynote and get that long form content, and then now break it up into short form content, where you can run ads and you can do different things. So like you can see here, once you have the pillar content, you can repurpose the best moments into pieces of micro content, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, so now you're able to now repurpose that content into different pillars, which is incredibly valuable. So this is all part of influence. How do you create influence? Is you just got to be in people's faces. I love this saying that I saw, and it's like, you got to make yourself famous. And I love that saying because it made so much sense. Before it used to be, these major companies. I just saw overnight that Netflix, made major news announcement. Netflix just acquired Warner Brothers, which was a huge M&A deal, a huge acquisition, right? So they have access to all their shows and all those type of things, which is quite big. But the reason only why I'm telling you that is in regards to make yourself famous. You as a CEO, you as a business owner, small business owner, you can make yourself famous. So why am I telling you to make yourself famous? Well, the reason why I'm telling you to make yourself famous is because the more people keep seeing you, the more people keep seeing you, they 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 keep seeing you. It's going to be like, wow, I always see this person. Then the interest is going to come in, right? They're going to be attracted to you. You repel who's not for you, you attract who is for you, right? So that's the power and the compounding effect. So imagine if you're taking these action steps to be influential. Imagine if you're taking these action steps that I've just showed you here, right? A really 3-step process. You want to document the content. Now, a lot of CEOs, they come to us because they don't have time for this shit. They don't have time to be, going out and having a camera person maybe, or doing it themselves. So they have a structure. They have someone like us to say, hey, Sujira, make us industry leaders. Okay, well, what are we going to do? We're going to follow the pyramid. We're going to come in and document what you're doing. Well, we could even just start a podcast, right? Can we start a podcast about who you are and what you do, and you're going to do meetings anyway. You do meetings for your business. All right, I have about 7, my calendar's full of meetings. So you have meetings every single week, right? Well, okay, why don't you structure that at least every week, every month? Can I get someone from outside, a partner, whoever I want to tackle? You know me. Do you know what we do? Whoever we want to speak to. Yesterday, actually, I even, I saw Donald Trump's son is a partner in a venture capital firm. What did I do? I messaged the managing director on LinkedIn, right? Because I can access anyone I want in this day and age. So you can access potential partners, potential relationships, potential customers, and you don't sell to them. You can say, hey, we would love to have you on the podcast, right? And it could just be great, right? Great for your industry. Great to see you being an authority. Again, the way you get influence is by becoming an authority figure. You want to become an authority figure. So you as a CEO having a podcast every week, every month, sitting down, and then from that podcast, that is your pillar content. That is your pillar content. That's your show here. Do you know how valuable this is? And what's happening is that when you don't do this, the more you delay this, you're just losing market share. Your customers your competitors have the space to do this. Who's going to dominate market share in 2026? Do you know what we do in December? We actually put out more content. We put out more podcasts. We put out more content. I'm actually holding off on some content for now. Maybe I'll be putting it more towards Christmas, because I know the time during Christmas, the time during holidays is where people are consuming the most content more than ever. It's where your customers are consuming more content more than ever. Christmas is a time where people are off work, they want to relax, they're spending time with family. Well, guess what? We're going to be open. We're going to be here. We're going to be here for them. We're going to be here putting out content. When they're watching YouTube, guess who they're going to be watching? They're going to be watching us. December is a time we go harder. December is a time people are watching, consuming on their phone. It's where our customers are there consuming content. So when they're consuming, instead of us being consumers, we're going to be the ones who are creators. We're going to be the ones who show up on their phones, who show up there and add value and educate, and sometimes entertain. We're going to entertain. We're going to educate. We do everything, right? There is no niche. You are the niche. You are so interesting. I am multifaceted. I am a CEO. I can do this. I do this. I do this. I do everything. Entertaining. But I can educate my customers who are going to be ready to buy in 2026. I can add value to the people who are not ready to buy, who are just shopping. But the point is, December is a time we go harder, because the people who put in the time in December now, the people who sacrifice, who put in the work, who strategize, who put in a plan, who have things in place, right? It's not just about working hard. It's about also working smart. Okay, what are the numbers? What are the data? If we do this, it's going to result to this. If we do this, it's going to result to this. Everything has to be analytical. We have to analyze everything, but we put action towards it, right? We analyze, we use the data, we put actions and say, how can we improve? So then when you see us winning in January, February, March, and you see us being successful, that was because of the work that we did in December. That was because of the work that we did when people were sleeping. Right? So it doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter. You could be struggling right now. It could not be the best situation for you. But if you just put in the work now and keep going, and then put in the strategy and apply it with tactics and get the mentorship and get the training, by next year, you will see the work that you did. Sometimes it even takes years. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years of planting seeds, of building a personal brand. I gave an example. Right? This is just a small example. I've been posting content consistently. A lot of marketing content, consistently. Over a period of time, the algorithm starts to trust you way more. Facebook now, I start to see my income increasing from Facebook paying me through advertisements. So for me, in my mind, if I say, okay, they're paying me $100, they could pay me $200, or that $100 and $200, that can turn into $2,000. That can turn into $3,000. That can turn into $50,000. That's how I think, right? But I wouldn't have got there if I didn't put in the work, if I didn't do 2 to 3 years of posting content. So think about it. You're telling me I get to post content that's marketing my business and just, being myself, and then I'm getting also paid for that on top of that. So that content can bring me leads. It can make awareness. When people Google me, they can go in and see the content. So the content is top of funnel. It's marketing our brand. It's marketing the company. But then also I get additional revenue from Facebook. So now by you being an influential person, you increase your revenue streams because then places like YouTube, places like Facebook, these companies pay you because your content is valuable and they can put advertisements in front of your content. And that's just additional source because your main business is potentially what brings you revenue. So you see what happens when you build influence? You build income streams. You like that, huh? You see what happens when you build influence? You build income streams. Now, I know I've been sharing my screen with you, but I was just really going through this. And then we do this as well. We put everything on audio. We put it on Spotify, right? So people can listen to that. So I just wanted to point you through a little bit of the frameworks that we use here at ETS Rabasha in how we build influence and in how other people are building influence in the industry. And if you want to be a part of that, if you want to be someone who builds influence in your industry, we just got a question. Any best service that are in demand right now? That's a great question. Very good question. Any best service that are in demand right now? That's what someone's asked. It's really an interesting marketplace. I would say client acquisition. I think the industry is changing a little bit now. So people are wanting to spend money less and less. People are spending money less and less, right? It's like, well, like I can go to 200, like I get offers every single day. People, racing to the bottom, people cheap offers. Like what makes me go to you for lead generation or marketing or podcasting when I can go to Upwork and pay someone $100 and get it for way less? Why should I come to you? So when you say what best services are in demand right now, what I would say is client acquisition. So what does that mean? You going to people and saying, hey, listen, I will go and get you clients. I will go and get you clients. Which business owner does not want clients? Which business owner does not want more money? Put your hand up if you don't want to make more money. That doesn't exist. What the hell? Everyone wants to make money. So if you can position yourself to help someone make more money, that is in demand. The only challenge may be is someone may say, well, I may not pay you for that as of now. You go bring me clients and then I'll get you commission or something like that. So again, that's where your personal brand comes in place. So I'll give you an example. I'll actually break down an example that I went through my damn self. Again, what I told you, what our company does is we help people build a podcast. We help people build a personal brand. We help people become an authority in their industry so that they can build more revenue streams, so that they can build their company, grow their company valuation. When they walk into a building, people know who they are. They're that person. Oh, you're that mortgage broking guy. Or you're that, Taylor guy that I see on social media. I've seen you before. That's what sometimes I've been with my clients and they walk somewhere and someone will say to them, oh, like I've seen you before. It's like you're familiar. Can you imagine? They've never seen them in person, but because what we do, we put out so much content of that person. Because we put out so much content of that person, it's like, wow, it's like you're familiar. It's like I've seen you before. And that's actually incredibly powerful when you put out so much content. It's like people are used to you, which is really, really cool thing. So anyway, we do what we do. So we have a system in our business where we contact as many of our ideal customers as we can. So we email them we use AI to help us do that, value messages, and we do that on LinkedIn. The difference between us and most people on LinkedIn, I got it today. I saw a message, Jesus Christ, like someone's just selling to me straight away, like just selling. And then you know what I did? This is what I actually did. I went on their profile. So I said, okay, you're selling to me. I know it. I went on their profile. Their profile was empty. Like it was like those, it had a profile picture, but it's just empty. No content, barely anything, right? And then there's two different people. There's even people who have no content. And there's people who, they have content, but they just have images or stock images or, those. So it's like, I still don't see no depth. Don't see no substance. What makes me want to come and even talk to you, right? So anyway, what we do, value messages, powerful messages. Hey, as someone with your status, your experience, it's like we want to give. So have you ever been on a podcast before? So we get them in our funnel. Of course, that we get high replies because people are like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to go on your podcast. Or, they get interested because they don't get to talk about themselves much. They don't have a platform to be heard and to listen. And we're talking about people who have built huge businesses, people who have advisors, consultants, people who have done big things, but they still have never had that platform to really be somewhere and tell their story and just to be open and talk about what they do. That's actually one thing I noticed, right? So anyway, boom, hedge fund attorney. He replies, yes, for sure. Boom, we'll go to New York. I targeted New York. Okay, so I traveled over to New York and we were in touch with this person, went over to the office and said, hey, let's do an in-person podcast. Amazing. Fifth Avenue. I'm getting goosebumps because it's just powerful. Went into the Empire State Building in his office, amazing office, and we had an amazing podcast. We had a dope conversation, man. It was really cool. Talked about business, talked about life, just talked about so many amazing things. And then after that, we got in touch. Hey, like, is there anything that you're trying to grow? Is there any clients that you want? Of course, he replied. Well, guess what? He had trust. We built trust. We had emailed. He had seen my team, my assistant. We had emailed back and forth a little bit. Went and did the podcast with him. And then the in-person thing is powerful because when they meet you in person, they say, oh man, this guy's the real deal. It's the personal brand. And then let's just go back a little bit. If I would have messaged this hedge fund attorney who's incredibly busy, doesn't have time, these guys are incredibly busy, all the people we speak to are incredibly busy, do you think he would have replied if he would have went on my profile and then saw nothing, or he didn't see much of a significant brand or any piece of content? Yeah, he still could have replied, but it would have made my job much harder. But all the work that I was doing for years and years and years and years and putting out content. You see, what happens is when you do that at that moment, you might not get any money from it. All those pieces of content that I was putting out, that I've been putting out, educating, and all just so much content, right? At those moments, you may not get a monetary value from that, but that compounds over time. Because guess what happens when you meet people, whether you meet them at networking or you message someone or you go somewhere, they're going to go in and look at your profile. They're going to go in and Google you. And when they Google you, so when they Googled me, all those years of work that I've been putting, even the days I wasn't making money, even the days where I was struggling, even the days I was just, like, fuck, when is this going to work? Right? I got to go and work a job. I got to keep working my business. I got to go work a job. I got to work on my business. And I just want to work on my business full time because it's what I love to do. But all those times, so then when something like this, an opportunity, and I gets presented in front of me, then guess what? It works because I built up the credibility. I built up the influence. So that's influence. So anyway, then he says, you know what? And then I say, hey, we have a team. I say, hey, we'd love to have a meeting with you to see after this podcast conversation how we can go and get you those clients, because we asked him that, that you're looking for. And then he said, you know what? Sure. What do I have to lose? We book in another meeting. So this is now after the podcast. We have a meeting, and he was actually kind of a little bit cold because he knew, okay, I'm selling to him. So he wasn't really opening much. But then I just said to him, how are you getting clients? Is your pipeline full? Are you guys contacting 3,000 people a month? 4,000 people a month? Do the maths. You contact 3,000 people a month who are your customers, right? So you got to know who your customers are. You got to, again, the way we do that is we just look at our clients. If someone has ever bought something from you, there's 1,000 more people just like that person who bought something like from you. So you just got to think, okay, who is my best client? Who is the client that, that I would love to serve, who pays their bills on time, who's really cool. We have cool conversations. We get along. Like, if I could just duplicate 1,000 of like them and they were to pay me those fees, I'd be a freaking millionaire. I'd be adding value to the world. I'd be providing values to so many people. I'd be changing lives. Okay. So, what is it like? What's their income? Again, I study this. It's a science. So for example, I spend time with my clients, the people that I serve, I spend time with them. The reason why I spend time with them is because I see their patterns and behaviors, because there's other people who are exactly like them. And if I go and find them, I know already their pain points. I already know what they do. I already know what their weaknesses are. For example, a lot of our clients, they're baby boomers, 40, 50, my dad's age, right? Because I know them so well, I know they're not so much, social media savvy. I know they're not, they're just kind of like, so I know them so well, I can speak their language. So when I'm doing that podcast with him, I can speak his language so much. He's like, man, I get this guy. It's like he already knows me. Well, that's because, yes, I do know you, because I know who my customer is. I know the people I'm serving so well. I obsess over your problems more than you even obsess over them. And when I obsess over them, that's how I get paid. So I have the meeting with him and then I just break it down. We will go get you clients. What about if the way we've met right now, the way you're sitting in here with me in this meeting is the way we're going to go and get clients for you. And then he was like, all right, send me a proposal. Send him a proposal. Long story short, we closed him as a client. We're wrapping up the contract this week, right? How valuable is that? That happened because I have a personal brand. I have a mission and vision. I'm going somewhere powerful. And so now people get attracted towards that. And so if I was to really sum up that question, I would say any best service that are in demand, I would say something like client acquisition. Marketing is always a service that people will need. You just have to be so good at what you do. You have to be good at what you do, but you have to be actually very visible. People need to see you. People, you need to build that brand. We have someone said interesting. Thank you. Very interesting, right? This is life changing. When you get this right, and depends. What are you guys trying to do? What are you guys interested in? What's your passion? Please let me know. Yeah. Very, very powerful stuff. So if you guys really enjoyed this, you guys can come to our website. Just show you guys. This is our website here. Oh, you guys can't see my screen. Let me show you guys the screen. Feel free to get in touch. Here is our website, ETS Rabasha Media. Again, our main services are around building a personal brand for people, which is starting a podcast, right? We give people that visibility. You want to give trust and you want to build those leads. So, we'll give you that piece of social media content. And then again, we'll go and help people. You want to get customers? All right, cool. You tell me who your customer is, what they do. Your customers so well. We'll go and find them for you. I think a great example here, this is one of the systems that we use. If you look at this, look how many emails we're sending out each month. Look at that, 4,000 emails, right? Look at the reply rate, 2%, 13 opportunities. Those 13 opportunities, all we got to close, let's say from those 13, we close 1 to 2 deals. 1 to 2 deals, you're looking at, $20,000 to $30,000 lifetime value. Right. And then again, something that we do is we say, okay, cool, we'll go help you get clients. And then we get commission from that. So not only do we have our service retainer where we go and serve them on getting them clients, but then we'll earn commission from that. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can head over to our website. We're here to serve you and here to enjoy life and build. Thanks, guys.